let's just hit stream and see what happens, my friends.
We have a chance to try to extend our season record to 12 games. And that's important for us, and that's the only thing that's really pretty much on my mind, and I think I speak for the masses when I say that. The defense is playing great, the special teams is getting great field position, the offense is winning, the point of attack, we find ways to win.
You can't get to there until you take care of what's next.
I want to be number one.
Do you think you are the best?
Right now, at the time in life and where I'm playing at, yes.
Yo. It's the C3 Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night at 9 p.m., we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name is Tony Dunn. They call me the Professor. I'm here tonight with my boy, Joe Riolano. How you doing, my friend?
I am excellent and so glad to be here tonight, ready to talk football.
Cody Lashney in the house. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful because it's a Tuesday night and I get to talk about the best football team in the NFL. The Carolina Panthers, baby. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about. I'm excited to be with my boy Joe, with my boy Tony. Let's do it, y'all.
Joe, we're back on the stream. All the things that have caused us so many problems over the past, 2.5 months, maybe?
Yeah.
Longer? Yeah. Appears to be working at this moment. If anybody in the chat room wants to give me a thumbs up and say, hey, they're excited to be here, the stream is working just fine. And the title of the show, Bees, Preseason Win, Cam Confronts, and Moton Dominates for 2 quarters. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, episode 18.28. That's right. 28 episodes into this season. We started right after the Super Bowl. We keep it going even through these troubles and tribulations. We thank everybody in the chat room, right? And you can do us a solid. You just turn that phone sideways, long ways, portrait mode, and hit that thumbs up button. That could really help us a ton. You can also share the show on any social media platform, Facebook and Twitter and all those things. And subscribe on iTunes. We appreciate all the iTunes listeners and people that listen on podcasts. Check the subscriptions numbers for the first time in forever, and they were pretty darn cool compared to the last time that I listened to them. So that's because what we do is talk about Panthers football, and that's what people love. We had a win, guys. There was almost real football this past Thursday. Did you get to watch the game? I mean, I'm sure you watched the game, but how was it for you?
Why don't you run with this, Joey?
I have to say it was good to see the players on the field. The little bit of the new offense that we saw here and there, brings hope of a return to the 2015 season and that magical run we had there. Saw some good and some bad. Got surprised by some people's play. And, it is only week 1, but sure happy with the progress so far in a lot of different areas.
Cody, the Panthers pulled out a 28-23 win over the Buffalo Bills. We got to see Cam Newton go 2 series. I was very surprised that he went more than 1 series in the first preseason game. Where are you just your overall about this game, and then we'll dive into a little bit more, talk about some of the specifics.
Guys, I feel like I'm happier than most. I feel like there are more than 5 players that really showed something worth writing home about. Taylor Moton looked like a man amongst boys. Jarius Wright on 3rd down, staying in bounds, yards after the catch. DJ Moore showing that first round physical ability. I mean, this is stuff that we saw in the first preseason game. I mean, this is a big deal for us. Ian Thomas showed out. There was a lot to like. Our quarterbacks, it took them a while to start, but eventually everyone got going. Even Cam Newton, it took him a little while, but then he was able to rebound. And I want to say one thing. I know people are kind of upset on about the defense, but this is what I would say. You want to see where your team needs help. That's what the preseason is for. So, for example, Kayvon Seymour got abused. You want to know that going into the first week of the NFL season. You want to know that Kayvon Seymour isn't the answer. So let him have a rough time of it in the preseason, and then let him right the ship and let our coaches know what we need to do better. I thought it was awesome. I saw a lot that I really did enjoy, and it made me hopeful for our season.
Yeah, look, I mean, my thoughts, I think Lynn brought this up in the chat room. Actually, I'm sure she did. I see it. It says, I'm sure Cam went past the first series to get some satisfaction after the 2 overthrows to Greg Olsen. You know, we lost the toss, I believe. They deferred. They kicked to us. We give the ball first. And, you know, was it what we exactly wanted to see in that immediate? It was a mixed bag. Cam Newton misses 2 throws on that first drive. You know, I go back and I've looked at these plays over and over, not those plays specifically, but I did look at that first one and I was like, man, did he overthrow Olsen? Was he throwing to a spot? Did Olsen run the route a yard short? He ran it on the 9. Was he supposed to be running the 10? Did Cam just overthrow it? Those typical thoughts and feelings you have when Cam Newton does that every first throw of every game, right? Is that he's got, Joey's always said this, he's got to get some dirt on his jersey, and then all of a sudden that he can get it, I say, like, going more, right? So, you know, those are the things that are just normal for us. But when Len is saying that the second, you know, they got a second series from satisfaction, part of that probably has to do with the Kelvin Benjamin situation, which was occurred before the game. This awkward moment you saw where Cam approaches Benjamin. Benjamin sticks to his guns. Cam does this, what'd you say about me type thing, right? And then he comes out, he misfires on 2 of these throws, and then Kelvin Benjamin comes out and gets a big touchdown. I feel like there was no way you were Cam. They put Cam back in because he couldn't go out with Kelvin Benjamin scoring a touchdown, jumping into the stands like he won the damn Super Bowl, and Cam Newton missing 2 of his 2 important passes. So I do agree with Lynn there. Another thing about this, in this first, what I saw from the offense to be remarkably excited. Let's talk about what we're excited about. What I saw that was exciting. Christian McCaffrey, number 1. Christian McCaffrey looked like the player that was promised to me by so many people. He is like, I didn't doubt him, but I was like, I want to see it. And I think I saw it in that game. I think Norv Turner, some of the simplest plays worked. And that is something that just didn't seem to happen last year enough.
Yeah, absolutely. If you notice on that touchdown, man, he ran into that end zone angry, boy. It's like he heard all the criticisms of him not being big enough and him not having enough body mass to barrel through the line of scrimmage. Well, I think he took that to heart. And I seem to think that we're going to see a Christian McCaffrey that runs a little bit angrier this season. He's got some more muscle on his bones. He's been in the weight room. I think Christian McCaffrey is looking to prove that he was worth the number 8 pick in the draft.
Joey, you said you saw some good things. What are some other things other than Christian McCaffrey? I mean, look, at the end of the day, Cam Newton went 6 for 9. He evaded a sack on Matt Khalil getting burned or whatever. He goes, he slides, positive. Like, these are all things I'm checking off. Cam continues to learn how to slide. Good signal, right? Cam Newton getting some help. Good signal. Cam Newton throwing to the back shoulder, Jarris Wright. Good signal. Like, these are some things I want to see. No delay of games, no penalties because of problems with the play calling. Joey, I'll ask you two things. Double-sided question. First, answer this one quickly. Do you think that this initial drive or even first two drives was 100% scripted? And then two, follow that up with some of the good things you saw in this game.
I think the first drive was not. I'm sorry, I think the first drive may have been, and the second drive was not. I think the first drive may have been scripted, just a couple of really vanilla plays. Something that they've run a lot in practice. So, they're real familiar with. And then with the overthrows, I think that kind of Cam was like, come on, let me go out there and do my thing kind of deal. And he went out there and drove the team down for a score. So that's what I think. First one was, second drive was not. As far as great plays, we saw Jarris Wright make a really good play. We saw DJ Moore make an excellent play. I'm really excited about what he can bring to the offense. What we saw was just a little sampling of his real talent and ability. Plus, then you got to flip to the defensive side. And we saw Dante Jackson just come in and shut whoever he was guarding down. They became a complete non-factor. And you got to love that. Some linebackers played well. A couple of young linebackers played well. It was good to see Alex Arma out making plays. Don't you think?
That was one of the first, and that was in that first series too, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Which is a scripted, if that, because I've been sitting here going, is this scripted, is it not? I agree, like the first one, likely was. But you saw, then you're looking at who are they putting in the script is what I'm interested at. And you saw Alex Arma. I thought Mike Tolbert, 2009, San Diego. That's what I looked at and I saw, because that's what Norv Turner loved to do there. He found a way to deploy him with something Matthews. What was his?
Ryan Matthews.
Now, the reason I keep going is it's scripted, and then I'll turn the mic over to Cody on this. There was just one play where we ran the ball like in a box that showed 9 people. One guy dropped into coverage, and I was just wondering. I think it was in the second series. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it was in the first. I just kept going. I wonder. I know we're not going to show anything, but is there any attempt to try to communicate? And maybe, that's some of the things I'd like to see practicing is how do you handle these situations when they don't go to script? Maybe we'll see some of those things in game 2. Cody, what else? What did you see in this game that stood out to you that you liked?
How about Curtis Samuel, man? Curtis Samuel looked every bit like what we drafted him to do. He made some good catches, and he looked agile in his movement when he caught the ball and his ability to move after the catch. Once you actually start piecing everything together, Ian Thomas, Curtis Samuel, now Jarris Wright, aka Mr. Third Down, there's some weapons, man. We're going to be able to spread the ball out. And, I think one of the most important things to look at going forward is still our left guard position. I feel like our offensive line, they didn't play great, but they didn't play terrible. I feel like for everyone, as the game went on, the play got a little bit better from our line. I'm really hoping that we see someone step up and, someone come in and submit themselves as I'm going to be the starter. I'm going to protect Cam Newton, give him the time to spread the ball around to all these new weapons. Man, I really think there was a lot to like. I notice everyone in the chat is still talking about our defense, and they're worried that our defense may not have enough. So you notice we signed Alex Carter. He's a defensive back, played for the Lions, I believe. So maybe the coaches are seeing this, and now they want to add some extra depth to be safe rather than sorry.
When it comes to the offensive line, one of the things I watched Taylor Moton because, if it's a vanilla offense, if it's these types of things, you should be watching or not you, but people should be watching, or I would think they'd be interested in watching things that maybe the coaches are interested in watching. And that is, like Ron Rivera said in addressing the media, we're not going to cut Luke Kuechly. We're not going to cut Cam Newton, those types of things. So let's see what we're working with some of this group. Taylor Moton, you can go read the story I posted on CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Taylor Moton Impresses in preseason opener. He didn't surrender a pressure. He had one arguably bad play that led to where he falls down trying to make this, I guess it was a scramble block. I tried to figure out what he was doing. He looked like he just dove at the guy's hip. But it was Shaq Lawson with those long arms, and he deflected a pass. That was a third and 8 screen pass to DJ Moore or something, right? But other than that, Shaq Lawson, and I would like to raise the point that Shaq Lawson, people could say that Buffalo Bills have said that he has he is yet to impress or live up to his first-round draft stock. I believe he was a Clemson player. Is that correct?
That is 100% correct. Him and Kevin Dodd came out in the same year.
So one of those, and so he knows this. They've made it, Billy Beane has made it public in Buffalo, and I would say that that's partially to try to motivate him and make sure that, look, he missed part of his time to injury and these things. He's got to come in there. And so I would think he was trying to prove himself, to impress. I don't think he's laying up. And he played maybe the first 2 full quarters, and Moton played all of that. So that was impressive. And on the other side, you had Shaq Thompson on the defense with the shoestring catch. We continue to hear the year of the 54. Those things are nice, right? So I saw a lot of positives there. And I think my last thing that I just want to touch on about the offense, and I think what you could see when you mention, the chat room mentions Curtis Samuels, when Joey mentions DJ Moore, when you even mentioned Ian Thomas earlier, is that when we get the ball in our hands and there's some mode of space on the field, it doesn't look like the play is over. And that is how it's felt for so long. What do you mean by that, really? I don't follow. I feel like if we throw it to a player over the last 2 years and Cam throws it and completes it for 8 yards, it's 8-yard pass. It's a 9-yard play.
Oh, okay. So,
is that it looked like we had potential to threaten with I would call it a faster offense. And this is what J-Dub says, weapons, bro. It just looked, and I know it's a small sample set, but Christian McCaffrey gets it, and he's laying daggers on dudes. Arma gets it, and he's showing burst. Then you get Curtis Samuel, who comes in there and plays really hard. He comes up there. He looked like he was playing fast, and this guy's foot almost fell off last year, right? So, I mean, these are I think, positives that we need to be reinforced with, or that are exciting. And sometimes you just don't. I would say is that some of the things you didn't know you were missing, I felt like I saw a glimpse of them.
Yeah, and hey, don't forget Elijah Hood too. That's a UNC running back. He caught a touchdown pass and brought one to the house too. I genuinely feel, and maybe this is just because I'm missing football so much, but I feel better about this preseason game than any that I can remember seeing. And maybe it's just because I don't hold the bad stuff too high, because I think that in a preseason game, you need to see where you're deficient and where your weaknesses lie. But I just remember seeing, man, DJ Moore made a highlight play. Curtis Samuel made 1 or 2. Jarius Wright showed the reason why you brought him in to be able to move the chains when you needed to do it. I saw a lot to like, man. I came out of it feeling very optimistic about what kind of team we might be able to field this year.
Now let's flip the coin to the defense, where I would say my initial reaction. So guys, this is how I watched the game. Is I was at Busch Gardens with my family, and it's the last vacation that we get to take, and like this little vacation. We had season passes. We've been going to Busch Gardens like crazy, right? It's a preseason game, so there's no sports bars at amusement parks. This is twice I've been held up. It happened in Disney once on a Sunday game. This happened again here. Why? I can understand in Disney where they don't serve booze, but at Busch Gardens they serve booze, and they kind of like make it a big deal. Why not have a sports bar for dads there on Sundays? I think it would be a great addition to maybe if they wanted to add an America section to Busch Gardens rather than it just being other countries. Make America great again by putting a sports bar at the amusement park. So I was listening on the radio, guys, through the app, and then I went back and I watched it later closely, and I would say my initial reaction to the opening of the defense was underwhelmed.
Yeah, it wasn't very exciting, specifically when Kelvin Benjamin is in the news so much about him talking to Cam. And then he just absolutely just daddies Kayvon Seymour, man. It just threw him off like a grown man throws away a child, and then jumps into the stands and almost kills a woman. Okay, all 250 pounds of Kelvin Benjamin coming down on some poor woman in the stands. Yeah, man.
Like he was at like in the playoffs, like Stephon Diggs last year.
What a time to celebrate how good you are in the preseason when nothing's on the line. Yeah, it's just, hey, man, like I said, I know everybody kind of wants to be ho-hum about it, but I think you want this to happen in the preseason. I remember in 2008, the Lions, they won every single preseason game and then proceeded to lose every single season game that they played. So you have to kind of take it in stride, and, you know, everyone's learning their new roles.
Now, Joey, after watching it, and I like to watch things and then sit on it, and then like this game, I haven't watched football in so long. I probably watched it 3 times. I ain't gonna lie, because I could watch it on the Game Pass, right? But then I was thinking about, hey, there's no Poe out there, there's no Peppers, there's no Short, and maybe they trotted him out for play, but I'm gonna tell you this. Yeah, no Bradbury. There is. It's not that like you can't judge and assess completely what our defense will be when you're missing the parts. You know, I mean, I know you could be like, well, this is a shiny AC belt that goes in your engine, or this is a shiny but like if you don't have the major parts out there, those little hoses that you hook up to everything, it don't matter how pretty or ugly they look, they ain't doing nothing. So I want to caution that, like, hey, let's not react too much about the defense. This is what I said. Same thing about the offense and the defense. I said, I wish they looked sharper. You know, like I wish that that Cam was 10 of 10, 2 touchdowns. I wish that the defense didn't allow Peterman to go 8 for 8 or whatever it was and just carve it. You know, I wish those things. But at the same time, I tried to remember, hey, these are the backups. Lost Joe Riolano. Take over, Cody.
Yeah, listen, it's, you know, when you have that how you mentioned, that many people not on the field, you're not getting a definitive look as what we're gonna be come game one against Dallas. You know, there was no Julius Peppers on the field, no James Bradbury. I honestly believe, I've said this before, I am a believer in Dante Jackson. He had some time playing, but I think once he has more opportunities to make plays, you're going to see him opposite of Bradbury, holding down that other side. I just don't see a reason to worry too much right now. If it's a problem, so the third preseason game, that's normally when they go the longest with your number ones. If it's still a problem by our third preseason game, then I could say maybe, worry about it a little. But right now, you're not seeing anything that's indicative of what our defense is going to end up being.
You're right. We're not seeing the, I guess you could say, full force of our defense. You're not able to actually tell that with what we saw this past week. One thing I will note is in one of the articles that were posted, one of the thousands of articles that were posted during training camp, I saw Eric Washington say, it was either him or Ron Rivera, one of those two said that they were not scared to start the season with Jackson and
Golden
starting in the secondary.
That was Eric Washington addressing in the practice following the game. So right. he was getting hit with questions about kind of how the defense looked a little rusty or softer than expected or wanted, and these guys, that he would feel comfortable with them. One thing I did take away also from that interview, Joey, that was really cool, is that while everybody else was trashing Kevon Seymour for like having the most terrible game, like he reminded me that these guys are coaches and that they coach up players that they got. So he was really delicate with his words.
He was.
And it was, I like to see that. It's like, I'm pretty sure he understood that pretty much everybody in the room understood Kevon Seymour got torched twice or three times, right? So, like, no need to pile on, right? So those things, you see that, right? So not the full force. What else, Joe?
Vanilla. The defense isn't doing anything special. The defense is, running their very, very basic defenses. Nothing special, nothing, stunts, twists with the linebacker. You didn't see much in the way of, special blitzes and that sort of thing. Same for the offense. Very vanilla. I think they probably opened it up a little bit more on that second drive. But yeah, that's true of all of the early preseason games. There's just not much more than what you expect to see at a inter-squad scrimmage. The plays are very basic, dumbed down. You're not really showing anything.
Now, I do think, let's throw a little cold water on this this party. Lynn said, look, I've seen multiple times where she said this, no excuse for sloppy and non-existent tackling. She saw several plays in that early series of missed tackles. Now, one of the things while we're saying, hey, we don't have the full force, we don't have these guys, in many ways, you are trying to figure out what you have if those guys aren't available. Now,
absolutely.
One of the things, though, that was unimpressive to me is David Mayo did not look better than he has in the past. I would say that he looked indecisive. His head looked like it was going one way. His legs going a different way. You know, is that it really, it like, watch it, is that he looks thinner too. Like maybe he's trying to speed up in coverage or something. But he didn't look like a guy that was continuing to get better and better and better. Like, because you think he's been on the team.
No, you're right, Tony. He did not look good.
3 years. So, like, in a way, you've invested some time in him. He should be one of the guys that's the sharper tools in the toolbox there. Now, another thing is that we got zero pressure just naturally. And look, Vernon Butler was out there. Mario Addison was out there at times. But, like, what I'm saying is this, is that it doesn't look like without Luke and Peppers and Poe in short, which now those are a lot of big names. But you take, you know what I mean?
Big names.
Yeah, but it's like you're trying to sit there and say, hey, we invested a #1 draft pick in Vernon Butler. You would hope that if Poe or Short wasn't available, that he would be able to play an effective, if not impressive role. You didn't see that. Another one is Deshaun Hall looked like a rookie, a red-shirted. He missed last year, red shirt injury. Deshaun Hall got he didn't get any pressure. He could not beat that right tackle. Couldn't beat him outside, and he showed no inside move. Now this, I've always said on this show that it takes a defensive end 3 years to acclimate into the NFL unless you're a freak. You're freaky good. You know, you're at the top of the top.
Unless you're Joey Bosa.
Right. Yeah, these types of players, right? It takes a special one to just step in and be really effective. So I would say this is that it showed that he missed last year. I felt like. I saw a lot of the same traits that Shaq Lawson had, and that was Shaq Lawson couldn't overpower Moton. It didn't seem like, and it also seemed like if he couldn't beat him to the outside, he didn't have any other move. That's how I felt with Deshaun Hall. Is like I can either beat you to the outside or you're gonna block me.
I'm wanting to know at defensive end who's gonna start on our left side. So I mean, no, pardon me, our right side. So normally, you know, we don't have Julius Peppers. I mean, he'll be listed as a starter, but Julius is a rotational guy. So they're gonna bring him in on pass rush and downs and let him feast. And I want to know, is it going to be Wes Horton that we're running with? We already know Mario Addison's going to be on the opposite side. But who's it going to be? Is it going to be Wes Horton? Is it going to be Deshaun Hall? Is it going to be
it's not going to be – I tell you, it's not going to be Deshaun Hall. Marquise, so I think we're talking about the left defensive end position, the one that Charles Johnson played.
Yeah.
So I would say this is the guys that they chopped out, that they trotted out there – on the left side were Horton and Deshaun Hall and Cox.
And that's worrisome to me. That seems to be like that's one of the largest holes on our defense that no one talks about, that we have a defensive end position that we're kind of just cycling through whoever, you know, steps up.
I think it'll be Horton that gets the snaps there. I think they're going to ask Peppers to play more this year than they did last year. That's my feeling. And then I also want to put out there for people that that if you're overly excited, don't get overly excited about Marquise Haynes. Is that he's kind of been the training camp wonder boy. The local media has been very nice to him, and the fans, he's a fan favorite already, right? The team loves him, the guys love him. All those things, and I'm not saying he's not going to be good, like be a good player. What I'm saying is that you saw again, he reminded me of a player kind of like what Mario Addison used to be, and that is potentially a good pass rush because of their explosiveness and their speed, but potentially also a liability in the run defense. You see that a lot of times Marquise Haynes was getting pushed to the middle of the pile, and then they're running on that left side over there behind him after he got all caught up in the defensive tackle's feet and all that by that point. So I think it's going to take a little time. I think both him and Deshaun Hall need to get into their pro NFL bodies a little bit more before they will be consistent contributors.
Yeah, they're still they're raw. I mean, they're brand new. They're fresh off the assembly line. You know, they need some time to learn. They need some time to get some secondary moves. If their first pass rushing move fails, you have a go-to. I mean, this is all very technical stuff, and it's going to take them a while to turn it on. So while Wes Horton may not give you the best feelings in the world, you know, he knows what to do. He's been in our system a long time. He is a veteran at this point. And, yeah, hopefully he's going to be able to come in there and make an impact, though.
Owen Silver says trade for Khalil Mack.
What
are we trading for him? Yeah.
Cameron Artis Payne. Would you trade Cameron Artis Payne, and who is the untouchable name?
For Khalil Mack?
Yeah. And Thomas Davis.
Oh.
Imagine that.
But you know what the thing about it is, John Gruden would do that trade in a heartbeat, dude. Thomas Davis would be the type of person that Gruden would want.
Like his John Lynch.
Yeah, exactly. That'll never happen, though.
What would that do to the the fan base? Would our collective heads explode if Thomas Davis was traded?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think. I agree with Lynn in the chat.
I think
he might just retire.
Lose their freaking mind.
God, that would be crazy. All right, so I do think the a couple of other things. Let me see what else. Curtis Samuel. Back to Curtis Samuel. What I really liked. Well, are we done on the defense? I think that I think we're going to need to see our front four out there, and Kuechly and Shaq Thompson. Kuechly and Shaq Thompson in a more out there together before we can truly judge like how important things, like where the situation is at in that regard. Now, Curtis Samuel, one thing I liked about this, I saw him, is that he looked like he was playing hard on special teams. And I like that, hey, the guy's coming off an injury, and he's also a high draft pick, but he's also at the point where he understands that, like, for him to be important on the team, in the league, and successful, if he's not going to be able to crack the receiver core right away, he might need to be a contributor on special teams. And he was fast too. Now, he was so fast, he pulled away. Go back and watch the punt where we punt to the left hash, to the left corner of the end zone. Curtis Samuel runs. He gets around. He had an advantage because he gets to run inside rather than try to run down the sideline, and that's helpful for him. He gets to about maybe 5 or 6 yards, 10 yards into his run, and then he just pulls away from these dudes. And he is down there. He could have almost fielded the punt, man. I mean, like, he had to wait for the ball to, like, hit the guys on hands, and then he tried to he did miss the tackle. I know people are going to say that, but I thought it was nice to see that speed, that tenacity there for a guy who's really had a kind of a tough start to his career. So that I thought was an impressive thing. Last thing, go ahead, Joe.
He made a few catches during the game as well, did he not?
Yeah, like big ones too.
Yeah.
And people also forget he went to Ohio State. Ohio State doesn't recruit bums. Yep. At the combine, he ran a 4.31. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a 4.31 run in person. It's fast, okay? And he said he could have ran faster. So listen, man, I honestly believe that there is so much untapped potential in Curtis Samuel. I think that him and DJ Moore together for the next few years, that could be a lethal combo. I mean, who are you going to cover? Those guys, they can put the moves on you, and they can catch the ball well, and they have a lot of yards after the catch.
Right.
And that's what they're made for. I mean, they have that Alvin Kamara type tendency to just make you miss in a heartbeat. They're shifty.
That's where I think that this team has the most improvement And this is what this team has been lacking for years and years. We finally have it. The element of speed has been lacking from this offensive group.
And you can't just put one fast guy out there, like Ted Ginn, and say you're a fast team.
How much of a difference the offense is with Ted Ginn. Now you're putting 3 or 4 Ted Ginns in this offense, and it's going to be deadly.
And then don't forget Torrey Smith. That's our veteran presence. That's
another fast guy.
Another fast one. And if you've been following on Twitter, all of our beat reporters, they talk about how, that's one of Cam Newton's favorite end zone weapons. Right in the back of the end zone to either Greg Olsen or Torrey Smith. So, and look, Cam Newton is so happy about it. You can tell anytime you see him do anything, the man is jovial. He knows what we're all talking about right now. He has better weapons here right now than he has ever had in his career here in Carolina. He has more to work with. Now, it still has to gel, but there's so much reason to be optimistic right now for this Carolina Panthers offense. It's incredible.
We're going to get into the cat calls here in just a second. I want to remind everybody who's watching. I want to thank everybody who's watching, participate in the chat room. Like J-Dub said, the chat room's lit. And top of that, J-Dub mentioned, too, Rivera saying that this was the fastest team he's probably ever had while in Carolina or in the last few years. I want you guys to turn your phones to portrait mode and smash that thumbs up button. That can help the show grow a lot. Also, consider sharing it. Share the link with a friend. Subscribe. Hit the bell notification. It looks like we may be back on track. Back to the normal C3 podcast where we can bring a more integrated discussion. So we appreciate your support. And if you really like the show, you can consider contributing to help continue to grow this. We have a Patreon account. The link is in the show notes. Now, what we're going to do now is turn the show over to you guys, and we're going to open up the cat calls line. And this is where you can have your opportunity to have your voice heard on the C3 Panthers podcast. The number that you can call any time of day, all day, when you're pumped about the Panthers or even when you're down about the Panthers, you can call 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. And let's jump into these cat calls.
What are your thoughts on cat call? Yeah, you shouldn't do that to somebody. And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like a 3 and a 4 and a who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hi, what's up? Cat Chronicles. This is Cody. It's been a while. I have missed the past couple of shows. Yeah, I've been a little busy, but I'm gonna try to. Although I'm at work, and
we won't tell.
We'll be by the time your podcast comes on. I'm gonna try to be there and tune in tonight. I have a question, guys. Can somebody please, can we do something about this Colin Cowherd? Now, Fat Benjamin, I'm not gonna call him Benjamin. I'm calling him Fat Ass Benjamin. Excuse my French. Fat Benjamin talking all that junk to Cam. After Cam defended this guy and everything after he got traded, and he wants to talk junk. That you can do good with any other quarterback, we're going to see. And Colin Cowherd agreed with him. Is it me, or do you guys think that Colin Cowherd gets off talking junk about Cam every chance he get?
All right, Cody, you take this because, I'm pretty sure you handled this from before it happened to after it happened. I watched it on your Twitter timeline. You call it like you see it, sir.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm changing my name from Cody to Miss Cleo because on my Twitter, I put, as soon as the Kelvin Benjamin thing went down, I said, vision from the future. Colin Cowherd will have a segment about how correct Kelvin Benjamin was and how terrible Cam Newton is, and then he will add the stats to back it up. Not only was I right, but he led his show with it, y'all. You can't make this up. Colin Cowherd is the type of person that talks about Andrew Luck, who has had a worse career than Cam Newton, and will make all the excuses in the world for Andrew Luck. And then when it comes to Cam Newton, absolutely tear him down. Listen, man, Colin Cowherd, he does it with a few other people as well, but it's really worse with Cam Newton than it is anyone else, man. I mean, even when Cam made the comments about, it's weird hearing the female talk about routes, and Cam put out an apology on Twitter. Colin Cowherd was talking about how fake it was, and he mentioned his sponsors before his daughters. Listen, y'all, Cowherd is a hypocrite down to the pit of his soul.
Hey, get him.
And you do not have to listen to anything that man says. And you know what? Bombard his Twitter when we're hoisting a Super Bowl trophy at the end of the year and Cam Newton's an MVP, baby. Let's go.
Good God, Cody bringing the fire. There was one other thing. I think Cody did tweet. He must have banged his wife or something. I think was one of those, because it's a special hate for Cam Newton. It's just easy. You know what? It's low-hanging fruit. That's what it is for Colin Cowherd, is that Cam has the ability to excite people's passions because he's a big, beautiful man. That's why. Just want to say that. Cited your passion. So, Carl D, let's see if you got anything else.
Tell you what, can we please get this guy? Let's get Cowherd on the pod.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Let's get Cowherd.
World famous G. Cavassier.
I'd like it.
I enjoyed that preseason game. That was a game we fought back. You know, Kelvin Benjamin, you know, he got his little touchdown and everything like that and jumped in the crowd with his big ass. To do 6'5" jumping in the crowd, I'll be terrified. But anyway, there's some things I want you guys' opinion on. Okay, number one, I'm not sold on Kevon Seymour, whatever his damn name is. Kevon Seymour, that dude looks horrible out there. He's been with the team, I want to say, since last year or maybe since 2016. He, to me, is not the answer at corner next to James Bradbury. I mean, they could put the rookie Jackson in, maybe. I'm hearing that he's getting good reps in training camp and everything like that. But I just found out today that we signed Alex Carter. I don't know anything about this dude. I heard that, you know, he could play corner and he could play safety. That's good. Panthers always find, you know, a Swiss Army knife, as they say, because they say Shaq Thompson was a Swiss Army knife when he was, you know, University of Washington. You know, he played linebacker and he played running back and everything. My thing is, I don't know if he signed with anybody. I know he's visiting the Dolphins this week coming up. Bashaud Breeland. Y'all remember him from the Redskins? Now, I don't know if he signed with anybody, but my opinion, I put this on Twitter. I think we should give him another physical. I know that he went to the islands and messed up his heel or something like that, cut his heel, and he failed the physical. Because I remember they was going to pay him like $24 million or something like that. I think it was like 11-something million, guaranteed something like that. I could be wrong. It was over $10 million or whatever. But to me, you think it'll be good for us to kick the tires again on Bashaud Breeland and bring him in for a second physical? You guys, tell me your opinion on that, and always remember, keep pounding.
Guys, G.
I want to say, I was trying to play it. What was that? S. Cotta Y'all must try harder. Competition is nada. Remember that, Jay? Because that's the only. You remember that Jay-Z song? S. Carter. Y'all must try harder. Whatever. Yeah, right. Is a competition is nada. Okay. Alex Carter. I don't know him, dude. All I could think about was Jay-Z. That's all I could think about when you said his name. Now you guys go ahead and address the central components. Cody, you can start off and address the central components of that call.
Well, listen, man. I mean, okay, so let's mull over this. If we signed Bashaud Breeland now, it would be for a lot less money than we originally were going to sign him for. And who knows if he would even take that kind of money, that kind of pay cut at this point in time. Another thing is, man, listen, maybe I'm just a fanboy. I am loving me some Dante Jackson. Everything I read about him online, everything that you hear about him, he is routinely breaking up passes from Devin Funchess, who has 6 inches on him and 50 pounds on him. I mean, I think Dante Jackson is going to take that spot. If they're worried about depth, then that's, to me, what that Alex Carter move was. They wanted to make sure that they had someone not named Kayvon Seymour. And you're right, G. No one believes that that man is going to be doing us any favors this season. So, to me, it was a depth signing. But, man, I am a fan of Dante Jackson. I think he's going to burn it up. And I think he's going to be our starter on the opposite side of James Bradbury.
Joey, the Kayvon Seymour, he's backup.
He's got to be, I think.
There's nothing wrong with being a backup in the NFL.
No. I think he's got to be. Jackson is playing too well. The coaches really said he flashed in training camp, and he flashed in the game too, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of time until Seymour is a backup, and hopefully he can keep that position.
I think it is that I was thinking too that like I feel like that as long as Kayvon Seymour, Joey, what is going on? It's scratchy. What is I think that if you need Kayvon Seymour to be a starter, then we're going to be disappointed all year. We have done this too often, is put guys out there that aren't really, that are asking them to probably do more than they're capable of. Not capable of, that should be required of them. So I think this is what you drafted Dante Jackson for. You drafted him. I mean, he's impressed more than even his draft stock, right? If you think about it. Like, I mean, he's playing like a first rounder out there according to everybody that's writing the beat and stuff. And I think that the question, I think we have enough there. To me, the real worry is on the offensive line. Could we sustain an injury there? One more injury there, and I'm starting to say we got to trade players to get a guard.
If no one steps up, yeah, we're absolutely. I mean, and now that, and I mentioned this earlier in our appetizer show, you know, if Matt Khalil goes down, who are we going to have to play left tackle? Is it going to be a mini Silatolu? They're saying that he might start at the guard position. I mean, we really don't have a lot.
Not a mini, he's done. Not a mini Silatolu.
Oh yeah. That's right. He had to have surgery.
Yeah. So
okay, that's it. All right, that's even more. We do not have a lot of depth at the offensive lineman position. The problem with that now is who's out there that you trade for. I mean, who is out there? Who can you bring in at this juncture that's actually going to be able to contribute to the team in a real way?
I don't know that person is out there right now. I was thinking that after teams come down to, what is it, 63 players or something like that?
53.
53, yep.
53. Whatever they come down to next, I think that's where we might find someone serviceable.
Well, yeah, you're definitely they're gonna add some players there. I bet you they keep a bunch of people on the practice squad who play in the. I bet you our practice squad is going to be offensive linemen, cornerbacks, and that's it. Oh, yeah. A tight end. They'll put
just out of necessity.
Yeah. The thing is that for me is that I would be more concerned. Like, what happens if that happened in week 4? You know, you might be trying to poach somebody off a team that's not looking like they're going to be good that year, and for like immediate, like, we need help. Like kind of like if you remember when we got Jared Allen. It was like, we need help at this position. We're good right now. We have the, you know, so that's what I'd be interested in. All right, let's keep going.
FC3, your boy J-Dub.
J-Dub?
About the preseason game, you said you wanted to hear opinions or whatever. I think a lot of people are overreacting about Cam being inconsistent at first. He has a tendency to be like that all the time. I kind of agree with a lot of people saying we should do a quarterback run within like the first couple plays. Just
the
to get
first
out
play.
He seems to like running. He enjoys it. That's the one time he likes to get hit is when it's running. So it kind of gets him in the game, I think, too. Kevon Seymour, I never saw him being the answer as a number 2 or nickel. I never really did. This guy couldn't beat out Worley. He was basically neck and neck with them all last year. I mainly thought that he was put in there because he knew the system and knew the team first, but with Cockrell going down and Jackson just learning, it was almost by necessity. I do realize a lot of people brought up the fact that his wife was pregnant, and luckily everything went good with that. I don't believe that was the case, but who knows? Who knows? I mean, that could have been elsewhere. I think it would be more of an excuse, him playing his old team and trying to show out like they made a mistake. I think it might have been more of that, because sometimes you get out of your game, which is kind of what I thought Cam did. I think he kind of was trying too hard with the KB thing, and then KB blew it up, and he was so mad, and he came back and did his thing. Kind of like all the other times. So a lot of times something bad happens, and he's like, all right, I got this, and Cam does his thing. As far as the defense as a whole, I mean, we were gutted. We didn't have a lot of people on there that are going to be there, so I'm not going to read too much into that. The penalties weren't that great. I thought that was a bad thing. Hopefully we'll clean that up. We're usually a pretty good team under Ron Rivera when it comes to penalties. I like to see that cleaned up a little bit. Didn't seem like we were having problems with the centers and the exchange, but I've heard in training camp that has been the deal the last couple of days. Hopefully we get that cleaned up. You can't have unforced mistakes in this league because even the Browns or anybody will make it pay. I'd like to see more Golden. I didn't really get to see him too much from what I saw.
I agree.
But Dante, it seemed like they were kind of going away from him a lot. It seemed like, I don't know. It's just hard telling. I think we'll see a lot more in Miami, and then definitely more in the third game against the Patriots, which is pretty much your dress rehearsal. And that's good to be facing a team like that, I think. Top to bottom, I believe our roster is better, so I would hope we would show out and show that.
All right, there's J-Dub. Got cut off at the marker, but great call there. J-Dub, our boy.
As always.
Speaking of J-Dub, I just got his a letter in the mail from him. He's part of the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge, guys. I need you guys to remember this, and we got to fill it up. Last year, we sold like all of them in like 3 days. It was crazy. This year, we're about halfway full. We got 2 weeks to the draft. We need you guys to go ahead, get in the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge. This is what we're doing, is that if you get the premier package, the premium package, which is like you get a bunch of extra stuff for being in the league other than just the opportunity to win prizes, you get a I Stand With Cam t-shirt, right? This is a dope t-shirt that Lynn actually designed for me. Thank you, Lynn. She is the best. She's been so helpful with those projects in my in the years that we've had this project. So you'll get an I Stand With Cam t-shirt, which is remarkably relevant still today. We made this when he was getting hit in the head all the time and they weren't throwing any of the flags. But now it's relevant in other ways. We stand with him against Colin Cowherd. We stand with him against Fat Benjamin. All of these things, right? Then you get
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. Then you get a Cam Wow. Those are all everybody. So that's like a $25 value right there. You get a team in the league, and you have the opportunity to win $300 if you win the first overall prize out of all 48 teams, and a DJ Moore jersey. Second place gets they get $75 and a 1999 team autographed team football by the Carolina Panthers players. And third place gets $50 and a 8x10 autograph photo of Thomas Davis. But here's the cool thing. If you buy that premium package, you're entered into a raffle, and this year's raffle prize is pretty awesome. We're going to be raffling off between, so you have a one, like, really, probably, because there's probably going to be about 20 people that don't buy the premium package. You probably have a 1 in 30 chance of winning. But even better than this, because once you win a prize, we take your name out of the pool, right? And so here's the thing, is we give an autographed Christian McCaffrey jersey away. We got an autographed photo by Julius Peppers that we're giving away. We've got a Cam Newton jersey, or one of equal value if your size is sold out in the team store. So these things are, all of this is available. You can go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com and just click on the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge tab and join that. It's the most awesome fantasy football league because it's just all Panther fans playing fantasy football together. So it's a great time.
Absolutely. I just want to say, guys, jump in there, because I have never played fantasy football before in my life. I'm doing it for the first time this year. So if you can't beat me, you've got some problems, because I'm a noob as a noob is a noob. So come in, join us, have some fun. I'm learning on the as I go, flying by the seat of my pants, but it's going to be fun. Come join, play some fantasy football with us. You
get a real detailed guide of how the challenge works. It's not as scary as it sounds. You're really in just a 12-team league, and then the top 3 teams from each league then go to a super playoff. And so there's a 12-team playoff. So you just got to be placed in your league and then get into the bracket. It's kind of like a mix of fantasy football along with what is it? The sweet March Madness a little bit. Now, the last thing on that, I just want to raise a point to you guys, and that is we do a selection show Tuesday when we raffle the prizes off and we do all that. This is when the league is all filled up. So we need, in the next week and a half, to fill this league up. What we're going to do is we give away also T-shirts and prizes and swag to people with the best team name in each league. And my team name in one of the leagues so far is Hey DJ, play that function music, right? So we are, you guys have got to come up with your good Panther team names, and we're going to give away more prizes there. All right, so we've done the cat calls. We've talked about the game, 2 topics, and close out the show. And then we got our ice up picks. Number 1, the Panthers blew the fan base away. I tweeted out this. I went and watched the video you were talking about. So what I was going to say is that I watched the video, David Tepper looking on the computer, looking at this discussion about how the fans want the midfield logo. That had to have been exciting to all of those people who have been so passionate about that. I guess this whole change potentially.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's I mentioned to you earlier, it does seem like there is this thing with our fan base now that David Tepper is here. You know, we have an owner that wants to win favor with the fans. So, you know, I'm loving everything that they're doing online. I do have to say, though, he was using a laptop from the year 2000. They called and want their laptop back. Come on, dude, you're worth $9 billion. Maybe buy a Dell or something, okay?
Did you see his keyboard that was like color coded?
Yeah,
it was like a green button and a red button.
Dude, it was struggling hard, man. It was like a computer stolen from the old folks' home, man. But listen, man, we're gonna let it slide because ultimately David Tepper is doing something really cool, man. And he's trying to win points with the fans. How long have we been wanting that logo at the center of the field? I know it's been a bigger issue for some more than it has others, but to me, that's how you continue to build the fan base. The Panthers stadiums, whenever the Packers or the Steelers come to town, our stadium is half of the other team's fans. You want to do everything to build a culture to let everyone know this is Panthers territory. You're coming here to play the Panthers. And that logo at the midfield, that's an important issue, man. That's a celebratory thing for your home team. So ultimately, I'm loving David Tepper. I'm loving what he's doing. I like the man himself.
That computer, by the way, had one of those mouse things in the middle of the keys.
Yeah,
and it's like yeah, but it's like this big. And if you've ever tried to use one of those, it's the most ridiculous exercise trying to navigate your computer with that. I tweeted this out, and if Joey's around, maybe he could react to this. Having Tepper as an owner is like finally breaking off a relationship where your significant other has grown cold and distant, and then meeting someone who gets you, who wants to love you for who you are. Wow, it feels good to be alive, Joey.
I think you're right, brother man. That is exactly how I would sum it up.
All right, so last topic of today, and like Lynn said, this video right here solidifies it, that it's going to happen. I think the reason that this video excited me is because he said, how about Pepper's jersey at the midfield? And I was like, I'm down with that, dude. Let's get it done. All right, so last topic is this. We're going to be heading into our second preseason game against the Miami Dolphins. When is the game? What day?
I have it right here. It is the 17th. So
3 days. Was that Friday?
That is this Friday. We have a preseason football game at 7:30.
Okay, so what do we, taking into account the things that we saw in this first preseason game, obviously we want to continue to see momentum. We want to see some players get better from last week to this week. What are you going to be looking at specifically in week 2 of the preseason, Joey, given what you saw from the team already?
I'm going to continue to look at the guard play. It was pretty decent last week for week 1, and I want to see how the development there is continuing to grow. And I want to see Golden and Jackson in with the ones from the beginning, or as many of the ones as they plan on using.
Lynn says defensive tackling. I want to see, Cody, these second tier players, these guys who are supposed to be on the come up, specifically a Vernon Butler, specifically in this case Moton, who we need to continue to show what he showed in week 1, and someone on that guard at the guard spot to step up and show that they potentially could be a contributor if called upon. What are you going to be looking for, Cody?
I'm honestly looking for our offense to pick up right where they left off. I think the Miami Dolphins, they have an underrated defense. They have some good players on the defensive
Minkah
line.
Fitzpatrick already balling out.
Yeah, they drafted Minkah Fitzpatrick. So, I mean, we're talking about how excited we are for all the offensive weapons that we have. But now let's see them go against some good players. We're going to see if our line is going to be able to hold up against the pass rush, and if our players are going to continue to get some yards after the catch, let DJ Moore get some carries, Curtis Samuel. I mean, let's move the ball down the field. That's what I'm looking for, is our offense to be able to move the ball, hopefully at will, against this Miami defense. On the flip side, I'm not too worried about our defense. I know everyone was kind of sounding the alarms on our defense. I'm not too worried yet, especially depending on who plays. But I'm mainly just looking for a W first and foremost, but for our offense to keep it moving and keep it rolling.
The Bat Daddy 52 says, I want to see Moore break someone's ankles, and Cam hit him perfectly.
Bam, bam.
Yeah. I think here the Underground West says we can't sleep on the Dolphins. You're right. Not, but we can when their starting quarterback is in. Tannehill did not look. You want to talk about not looking sharp, or if people are being critical about Cam Newton missing on 3 passes, go watch Tannehill play. No bueno, right? And even the passes that he completed, it was like, oh God, it's just dink and dunk and nothing. There was no hope. So, yeah, I mean, I think we'll be now. The question I have for you guys about this game is how much of the starters will we see? I was surprised to see 2 series. I thought we'd go 1 series last week, 2 series this week. Do we stick with that number? Do you see them try to play a Cam and them a full quarter, Joey?
Maybe most of a quarter.
Most of a quarter. I want to see also CJ Anderson jack up somebody like he jacked up Shaq Lawson in that game, or somebody, their defensive end. He blasted this guy, put him on his behind, man. It was awesome. And by the way, CJ was playing like in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, so, that's another name that we didn't mention that looked.
He looked good too.
Yeah,
he looked real
really
good. Yeah,
he looked really good. Oh, I wanted to cover one more thing. I told Lynn in the chat room, but if we do it, I'll do it super fast. There's been some stuff about Cam Newton throwing 4 interceptions.
Good point.
This week. Yeah, being really inaccurate. And I want to bring something up that a lot of people don't realize. This is it's the time of season when they're going through installs. So our offensive coordinators, they're putting stuff together. They're experimenting. They're seeing what works and what doesn't work. They're seeing, what receivers are running the best routes and what defensive players are good against those said routes. This is run-of-the-mill for every quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, who has, by the way, also been in the news. He hasn't been having some great practices either. Neither is Aaron Rodgers. So whenever you hear something like Cam Newton is throwing interceptions, this is the time that you want them to throw interceptions. This is where they're learning what to do and what not to do. It's a brand new year. We have brand new players on our team. There's absolutely nothing to worry about. And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple other things just from the chat room. They said, want to see Marquise Haynes go against a really good offensive line was one. And I think that was it. What is this? I just pulled up because I was getting ready. It's time to do the Ice Up picks. Folks, thank you for joining the C3 podcast. Look, you guys make this podcast fantastic. What we want to do is continue to cultivate a community, a discussion among Panther fans where we just have fun talking about Panthers football and enjoy each other's company. We want it to feel like we're all riding to the game together and we're talking in the car, chopping things up, batting our ideas around. So you can help us do that by turning your phone to portrait, because the thumbs up doesn't come when it's in horizontal. Smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe, share the show with a friend, consider donating, all that stuff. Just continue to participate is what we really want more than anything. Guys, I just didn't know. Look, I just saw this report. Ben Roethlisberger leaves final training camp practice early after hitting head on turf.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Mm.
Yeah, guys, don't worry about Cam throwing interceptions. We could be having those kinds of problems.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, amen to that, brother.
All right, so
well, hey, Mason Rudolph looked good, though. Their backup they drafted. He looked good, so.
That's the cat from Tennessee, right?
No, Oklahoma State, I think.
Oh, what happened to Josh? Was it Josh Dobbs?
Yeah, that was the Tennessee kid. Yep.
Yeah, Joshua Dobbs. I wanted
the guy that has no eyebrows.
And the guy that's got the biggest dome piece this side of
looking like this kid, John Radcliffe, I went to school with back in the day. Is that yo, big head? Right. We have a friend actually that lives in Charlotte, and his nickname is Big Head.
Yep.
Right. So the what was it we were talking about was what we were just talking about before we started. Oh, didn't he also like has an astrophysics degree or something crazy like that?
Yeah, he's super smart. He can recite pi to like the 15th number or something.
Well, yeah, I hope he gets a shot. All right, so this is the time of the show where we get in, where we ice somebody up. We tell someone to toughen up to get it together. This is the opportunity for us to have a little fun. This is our homage to Steve Smith. So, who wants to start tonight with the ice up picks?
I'm taking low hanging fruit, brother.
All right, go for it.
It's Captain Obvious. This goes out to the guy that jumped into the stands that was celebrating his first touchdown of the preseason, like he just scored the game winner in the Super Bowl. That's the most motivated Buffalo Bill fans will see this guy at all this season. Everything from this point forward is not going to be good. It's all going to be less than what we saw in week 1 of the preseason. He had to go and talk smack to somebody he claimed was a friend. Somebody who was supposed to be his boy, he wouldn't turn around and talk smack about him to someone he knew was going to tell the whole world. This was not something that was said in confidence. This is something that was said so that the whole world could know about it. And I think he's going to end up eating his words when he has to play with the guys they have back there as their signal caller, who wish he was back with Cam Newton. Anyway, yes, I'm talking about that Whoopi Goldberg looking somebody. That would be Kelvin Benjamin. He ran his mouth about his boy, our quarterback, and he's going to regret he did such a thing because now Cam is motivated.
Motivated Cam.
That's right. I think we're going to see a 2015 kind of year from Cam Newton. So ice up, KB.
All right. Nice. Way to bring the pounding on the buffet table, right, Cody?
That's right.
Pounding the buffet table. He's an X-Men looking Whoopi Goldberg.
There you go. All right. Kind of got a little Predator look to him. Also.
He does.
It looks like every WNBA player ever.
Holy! All right, Cody. What do you got for your ice up pick?
Man, okay. So I don't know if you have that image I just sent you, Tony.
Oh, let me see.
It's just a Google image search. I'm icing up the Arizona Cardinals because we have an obesity problem in America, and they're trying to add to it 50-fold. All right, if you can pull up this image on
where'd
the
you send it?
In the messages on the Hangout chat.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It's the first one. So this is the Gridiron Burger. It is a 7-pound burger. It has 5 quarter-pound burger patties, 5 all-beef hot dogs, 5 bratwurst, 20 slices of American cheese, 8 slices of bacon.
Slow down.
8 chicken tenders, 12 ounces of fries, lettuce, pickles, and tanker sauce on a 10-inch bun. Okay, so listen, this is diabetes on a plate. All right,
this is it. I just finally got the image up.
Dude, this is a heart attack waiting to happen. But then on top of that, dude, that's not even the worst part. The worst part is if you finish it in under an hour, you receive a Cardinals jersey and your photo on the scoreboard. Dude, if I'm going to raise my cholesterol by 100 points, I better have season tickets, all right? If I'm gonna inhale that monstrosity in under an hour, come on, Cardinals. Ice up, son.
All right, this reminds me of let me see. Is that this reminds me of a thing that occurred when I was listening to the Jim Rome show a long time ago. This was like, man, this must have been 15 years ago. I remember it like yesterday. He read a story very similar to this where a young girl who weighed 110 pounds went into one of these kind of things like this and ate an 11-pound burger. And it had something like, it was like 8 pounds of beef, a whole loaf of bread, like, you know what I'm saying, like a big, right? It had a cup of, like a whole head of lettuce, a cup of mayonnaise, a cup of this, a cup of that, and it was 11 pounds. And then it really dawned on me what happened when he said this. That chick went in there and ate 10% of her body weight. And I was like,
not wrong.
Oh, 110 pounds, 11-pound burger an hour. That's badass.
I mean, dude, I love a burger as much as the next person. But come on, man. Now we're just doing too much, man. Like,
nice.
Take Devin Funchess' advice and eat a salad or something.
All right, so, gosh, why does this always happen? I just had it pulled up. Name is Tom. I'm icing up 2 people in one, but it has to do with this Twitter conversation again with the what it was is Cam Newton makes people stupid, right? So this guy by the name, well, first this was by Fox Sports Radio at the Jonas Knox, right? And he put out QBs better than Cam Newton according to the Jonas Knox. Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Big Ben, Wilson, Ryan, Rivers, Wentz, Luck, Stafford, Carr, Garoppolo, Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Eli. Now, that list is offensive in its own right, right? And then this guy by the name of Tony Rash, at Tony Rash, really, like a rash on your body. He was a rash on my Twitter feed. He said this: shouldn't the Super Bowl champion quarterback Nicky the Man Foles be up there ahead of few of those guys and Cam the Bust Newton? If you win the Super Bowl at quarterback, you should at least rank in the top 5 to 10, I would have thought. Now, I had to tweet. Well, first I told the guy to delete his account. Right, that was the first thing I told him.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, is that the dude you were fighting with? I haven't commented on that.
Yeah, the Bat Daddy 52, Greg got in on it.
Yeah.
And the point that I'm going on is this: is he said, well, look, Tom Brady's won 5. He said something to the effect of Tom Brady's won 5 of these Super Bowls or something like that. I said this. Nope. He's an NFL MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year, multi-year Pro Bowler, destroyer of records, and has taken the Panthers to the playoffs 4 times. You are being an idiot if you think half of these guys have done anything in the realm of that. And then he went on to say, like, well, Tom Brady's done this and this. And I said, look, Tom Brady's been in the league for 20 years. But then he got mad when we tried to compare Cam Newton and Carson Wentz. He said he's only a 3-year player. And he didn't win the Super Bowl and all this and stuff. But that's just dumb. It is just dumb to say that Stafford, Carr, all these, like the bottom half of that whole list is better than Cam Newton. It's just being silly.
They've never won a playoff game. Half of them have never even won a playoff game or even made it to the playoffs.
Yeah. So to you, Tony Rash, on my Twitter feed, and Jonas, though Jonas Knox, I tell you to ice up. All right. That is the C3 podcast. Do you dig it? It's the C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions. We hope to see you next Tuesday. And keep pounding.
Okay, you